Going live now in 3 seconds. So hello everyone, welcome to EduTap and welcome to the success story session. In front of us today with us we have Mr. Rajan, who has cleared the RBI Grade B in this year, that is 2022, very recently only. And today we will understand from him his strategy, that how he came to clear the RBI Grade B. And so you will all be very interested to know that he has cleared the RBI Grade B while working. So he has been continuously working in the MNC for 6 years, and still he was able to clear the RBI Grade B with his work. He juggled the preparation of the RBI Grade B. So we will understand that how he was able to clear the RBI Grade B while working. And from him only, let's understand first about his educational background. First of all, heartiest congratulations to you, sir.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
So can you tell the aspirants about your educational background and the working life that you had?
Yes, ma'am. So I have completed my BTech in electrical engineering back in 2016, and there I got placed into an IT MNC. And since then, I've been working for an IT company and throughout various roles. And I had started my preparation for RBI Grade B back in 2019, basically. That was my first attempt. Didn't prepare much for it. Just sat for the particular exam just to know that if I will be able to do it. Prepared for prelims and made it to mains. Faltered in the mains. Next year appeared again. Faltered in the interview, but finally have basically made it to the final list this year, and this feeling is very good, man. Thank you.
Yes. So, sir, like you do not have the UPSC background. So, during like while you started the preparation, were you not afraid that you have to compete with the people that have the UPSC background? So, was the fear in your mind?
So, ma'am, back in 2019, the paper was mostly objective in nature, and RBI as a paper, it's a very factual paper, unlike UPSC, which relies more on reasoning and more of a understanding facts. But RBI has been a more factual paper historically also. So back in 2019, when I appeared for the first time, I just wanted to see if I will be able to do it, and it seemed more or less doable even for the working candidates like me, with the right strategy and the right efforts. The second time I appeared, that is in back in 2021, the pattern slightly changed and the descriptive paper was introduced. So that's when definitely UPSC people would have some edge. But I was definitely confident, considering that if I had the right content and I was able to, articulate it well, so I will be able to do it. So definitely back in my mind, I was confident.
Okay, that is very nice that you do not have to be afraid of the other competitors that you have. You have to have the confidence in yourself that you will be able to do it if you put the efforts, the right efforts. Okay, now coming to the working part, that most of the aspirants are very afraid that we are working in the banks or in the MNCs or something, in companies or something. So they are very afraid that how to put the time, that we have to compete with the competitors that are putting their whole day in the education, in the preparation. So how are you able to come over that, like being a working aspirant?
So my profile, ma'am, I would say it is. I was working in an IT MNC, and my office timings were mostly 12:30 to 9:30. And during this COVID period, it was more of a work from home for me. And for the past 2.5 years, I've been working from home only. So for me, time management is a bit more simpler than working candidates who have to go to office and then have to spend some time in traffic and have to juggle between a lot of things. But for me, it was I think it was a little less tough for me, because I had most of the time when I was able to complete, or I was able to complete my work. I had to squeeze some time in between my work, and also in the morning. Basically, I had studied in the morning more specifically from maybe after 10:30 to 12:30 or 9:30 to 10:30. I never had a time in my mind that I had to study for these many hours. I rather had divided the entire syllabus into different slots, and I had to complete those targets within months. So that's how I prepared rather than fixing time and looking at the time.
Okay, so it was like the micro targets were set that you have to complete the syllabus by this time instead of just putting that how much time you have to put, like
Definitely.
5 hours, 6 hours. Instead of that, you just set the micro targets. Now, I think
Definitely.
we can come forward and we can move to the phase one part. Now, in phase one, starting with the GA, because now the comments are also coming. They are very excited to know about the current affairs part. So, in the phase one, GA part, what was your strategy for the general awareness? There are like how many months, first of all, you prepared for the general awareness?
So, ma'am, coming to the GA part of the phase
Hmm.
one, it is the most deciding factor
Huh.
for if I could say phase one. So GA, coming to GA, I would say there are as IBPS exams are there, so you have to do a compilation
Hmm.
for any compilation that you're comfortable with. But I would suggest do compilation for around 4 to 5 months. But more stress has to be put on the last 3 months specifically, because I think 75% or 70% questions are asked from the last 3 months. I
Hmm.
would say so. Starting from I would say start from the latest months and go towards history. So
Hmm.
that's how you should attempt it, and then again re-revise it at different intervals.
Okay.
Now, just doing compilations are not enough. The second part is basically the schemes and also the PIB current affairs that are
Hmm.
currently being asked. I mean, they have been in news. I mean, they are currently being focused for the past couple of years. I've seen schemes in news, and
Hmm.
PIB current affairs are also covered. So for that, I would say that do not. I would say rely on a lot of video compilations that are available on YouTube freely, rather than doing it by yourself, which will take a lot of time of your. So rely on that and do it. And then towards the phase one, as the phase one is nearing, I think a lot of marathon sessions, I think
Hmm.
by EduTap only, a lot of marathon sessions are attended, or have to be attended basically. That is basically helping you with the revision work, and it's very helpful, considering that you can directly get 40 or 35, 40 marks from directly from the marathon
Okay.
sessions.
That is really humble. Like, yes, the marathon sessions are like very important because it's like for your revision. And if you can revise it many times, then of course it is imprinted in your minds. And as you said, कि पहले just start with the current. कि अभी 3-4 महीने में क्या हो रहा है and then go backwards because the current one is more important because direct questions are asked from the like the current 3 months and then go past to 6 months, we can say 4 to 6 months. So that is also very important strategy that you have to follow, that you have to focus on the current 3 months, the near to the exam, and then go backwards. And as sir has also said that make your own notes, compilation देखो वीडियो से ज्यादा याद रहता है. So YouTube sessions को भी freely available है तो उनको भी ज्यादा यूज करने की कोशिश करो. दैट इज ऑल्सो अ वेरी गुड स्ट्रैटेजी कि वीडियोस देखोगे तो ज्यादा रिमेम्बर रहेगा, याद रहेगा. So now I think we can move forward. So there is a question that is asked by a aspirant. How many times did you revise the current affairs so that you are able to answer in the exam?
So, ma'am, basically, at least two times is
Hmm.
at least I tried for two times. Sometimes it was not possible because of time constraint and some other exam coming in between. But definitely, I tried for two times. But
Hmm.
sometimes what happens is, even if you don't remember the exact number or the exact name, sometimes in the back of the mind, your intuition tells that this is something that I have seen in the last
Hmm.
month current affair, and this would have been the answer.
Yeah.
So that only helps when you revise and revise and revise.
Hmm.
So it sits somewhere in your muscle memory, and that helps you basically when you're attempting that paper.
Okay. And the students are asking which YouTube channel you followed for the marathon sessions, for the revision sessions.
Ma'am, mostly followed EduTap marathon sessions taken by you and Diksha ma'am and Gurkirat sir.
Okay. Okay. So now I think we can move forward to the next part, that is the quant and reasoning. So the quant and reasoning, what was your strategy for that?
Ma'am, for quant and reasoning, my focus was that that I had to anyhow clear the sectional cutoff at any cost, because prelims is a huge roadblock for RBI as an exam.
Yes.
Only I think 2 or 3% of the people who appear only make it to the next phase. So sectional cutoff is very important. I think every section you have to keep in mind what could be the sectional cutoff. Ideally, it is 25% of the marks that is allotted to that particular section, but usually it can go down depending on the difficulty level of the paper. So we have to choose or select those questions only which we can attack at the maybe first half of our paper attempting the paper, and get those marks, so that you are at least in the back of the mind, you are at least calm, and like you know that you have cleared the sectional cutoff, and then you can go to more scoring areas. I would say for quant, pick miscellaneous question first, and target them, and then move to DI part, because DI mostly it can be doable. It sometimes it's not doable. You waste a lot of time. Likewise for reasoning, target the miscellaneous question first, and then move to puzzles. Even if you are strong in puzzle area, I would just suggest that 15. If you get 15 marks in miscellaneous question, you can definitely get other 45 marks in other questions that follow.
Okay. So yeah, you have to understand your strong points also, and you have to understand that which are the easy questions that you can attempt, so that you do not waste too much of your time in the questions that you think that I will be comfortable, but actually they are quite hard or lengthy to attempt. So yes, so that is it. And what were your sources for the quant and reasoning? Did you prepare specially for those?
Ma'am, I didn't follow any book, or
Hmm.
didn't attempt any sectional mocks per se, but I used to attempt only full mocks
Hmm.
for RBI phase one, maybe 5 or 10 in number, because quant and reasoning happen to be one of my strength areas.
Hmm.
So used to attempt only full mocks during the phase 1.5 months before the phase one, and used to analyze the mistakes that I was committing.
Hmm.
I'm mostly focused on question selection if I was going wrong in those areas,
Hmm.
and used to like in my next attempt I used to see if I was selecting the right questions or not.
So what we can understand from sir is कि question selection is very important. कि how you are selecting the questions, that is very important in the examination, because you have to complete that in a particular time frame, the examination. And now the second point will be that what topics you are choosing, as well as you have to see that okay, quant and reasoning are my strength points, and so you do not have to waste too much time, but still practicing will be good. Like sir has also said कि he has given the full test, mock test, so that at least he become habitual of the question selection, and he become habitual with the examination pattern. So I think we can move forward to the English part, that how you did English. You also followed the same pattern as quant and reasoning, that you didn't prepare much for that.
Yes, ma'am. So never did prepare for English as a section also. So usually I look at English both as prelims and mains point of view, and definitely for English as a section I used to write a lot of descriptive essays, and used to practice precis
Hmm.
by reading some sort of editorials, or maybe going through EduTap's questions, sample questions.
Hmm.
So during that period only, during that reading habit only, it happened to me that my grammatical errors were drastically reduced, as well as uh, all those things like subject verb agreement, all those things that were taken care of.
Hmm.
So prelims as a paper, I would say focus on descriptive English, and everything else would be, I think, okay.
Okay, so you focused on the descriptive English, and while doing the descriptive English, while reading the editorials and everything, your English part for the phase one was also covered in a way, because the grammar became better and everything. So that is also a very good strategy for the aspirants that are looking, that when you read the newspapers, when you read the editorials from the descriptive point of view, you have to you become very clear with the phase one part also. So that is also a very good strategy that the students can follow. And the a student Nikhil is asking that did you prepare the current affairs daily, like on the day-to-day basis, or it was like a monthly compilation or something?
So, ma'am, for me, it has always been a daily habit for me. I would spend around 45 to 1.5 hours on current affairs, depending on how many news is coming for that particular day.
Hmm.
So I would make definitely a note the important current affairs in a copy, and that likewise I used to cover for every day. And at the end of say a month,
Hmm.
I would spend around 2-3 days revising and going through all those aspects, and also watch a particular top 100 questions of that particular month, so that
Okay.
that particular fact fits in my head.
Yeah, that is also a good strategy that you can go on daily basis and then make your own notes for the monthly revision, we can say. As well as the source was some newspaper or you did compilations.
I generally focused on compilations and video. Never did it by myself because I always knew that it is a time-consuming affair, and being a working aspirant, I
Hmm.
never was able to find so much of time.
Yes, that is true. So now I think we can move forward with the phase two part. And before moving to the phase two, how are you able to cover, like, did you had the anxiety part during the phase one of the exam? Because as you also had said that so many aspirants are giving the exam and the selection percentage in the phase one especially is very low because the number of the aspirants are so huge. So was the anxiety there? How were you able to overcome the anxiety during the examination?
Yes, ma'am. So definitely, when you go for a RBI prelims paper, you definitely don't know what is the cutoff is going to be. I
Hmm.
have appeared in 2019. I cleared that during that time. 21 also appeared cleared. 22 also I cleared. So I have seen the cutoffs from 122 to going down until 63.
Hmm.
So difficulty level had been, I mean, drastically increased over the past couple of years.
Hmm.
So when such is the case, there is always, I mean, a feeling of anxiety and fear.
Hmm.
But I was sure that based on the difficulty level of the paper, I had done well. And GA and English have always been a scoring area for me,
Hmm.
and that helped me to basically clear the overall cutoff, and focused mostly on clearing the sectional cutoffs for the other two sections. So definitely the fear was always there in the back of
Hmm.
mind, but I was somehow 50-60 confident for clearing, making it to the phase two means.
Okay, so now we can move to the phase two, starting with the finance and management. Let's start with finance and management because students want to know the sources and everything. So, how, like, coming from the engineering background, first of all, how are you able to cover the finance and management? Because they are quite new subjects, we can say, for a person that is from the engineering background.
Ma'am, finance and management happened to be my favorite subject. Basically, when I started for my RBI preparation, uh, it's historically also, if you look at toppers marks, FM is a most scoring area, and it has a very defined syllabus. Nothing is going to be asked outside that particular syllabus that RBI has defined
Hmm.
in its notification. So for finance and management, we have a very defined syllabus. If I break it down to finance and management, so management has a very defined syllabus, and there are theories and there are application of theories. Then there are examples through which you could remember theories. For me, it was revision notes and mind maps of EduTap, basically, which I followed because I didn't have a lot of time to search on my own for other resources. I followed holistically. The revision notes of EduTap are very holistic in nature. Uh, Definitely, it is not important that you do a lot. You only do whatever is there in RBI syllabus,
Hmm.
which is there defined and written specifically
Hmm.
in RBI syllabus. Don't have to do any a word
Hmm.
more than that or less than that.
Hmm.
For past couple of years, I think they are not focusing on asking the theory by directly, but rather they are focusing on application of a lot of uh, uh, management concepts that we study for RBI.
Hmm.
Coming to finance part, ma'am, finance is again divided into static and current. And for current, there is a different set of preparation. For static, again, RBI has a defined syllabus. I think it's also very interesting. I think everybody should know about bonds, capital markets, and derivatives, and all those aspects. So it is the basic is that your basics have to be very clear, and you should know, like, uh, if you, even if you have an ounce of a doubt or something, you should go to a teacher, or maybe you can visit any YouTube videos or Investopedia page, to get it clarified, because that might be asked in the exam.
Mm.
And coming to finance current affairs, I think again make use of YouTube videos which are freely available. I was following finance in news for of EduTap as well as RBI website. I was not able to do a lot of from RBI website because didn't have a lot of time, but more reliant on finance in news, and also some other YouTube channels which I used to follow for finance current affairs. Used to make my own notes, didn't have to revisit the videos again. And while in before the phase 2 exam, I used to go through my own notes.
Okay. So we can say that for the management, you have focused more on the EduTap sources, like the revision notes that were provided and the videos that were provided. And then you used to make your own notes. So for the revision part, like for a crisp revision, we can say. Now coming to the finance, you have divided it into static and current affairs. Static, again, you were making your own notes. So you were studying from the revision notes. Coming to the finance current affairs, you were not able to come to the RBI website. And it is very lengthy also, the notifications. So you directly followed the finance and news, and you were able to see everything in the YouTube session. So you were making notes from there. So I think for the aspirants, the sources are very clear, that you have to follow one source. Do not go everywhere finding different information, because everywhere it will be different in a way, like the speaking pattern is different, the writing pattern is different. So it will get very troublesome for the aspirants to understand also. So focus on one source only and stick to it, stick to the syllabus also. Like sir has said, कि defined syllabus है, उसी को फॉलो करो, इधर उधर जाने की जरूरत ही नहीं है सिलेबस के मैटर में तो. So I think finance and management part is very clear for the aspirants. Now coming to the ESI part. Now ESI is something that doesn't have the defined syllabus. So how you took that over?
His ESI has always bothered me for the past, I think, three of the mains paper. I think this year also it was an horrendous paper objective if we consider. Uh, Marks are still not out, but definitely uh, I think ESI is one paper that most aspirants are afraid of.
Hmm.
So for descriptive point of view, I would say there are a lot of social issues that those topics are already mentioned in RBI's syllabus.
Hmm.
So for those syllabus, for those topics, I would say suggest there are a lot of schemes that are focused on those syllabus. So those topics in the syllabus, like for education sector, there is a lot of schemes that are launched by Ministry of Education. For health sector, there is a lot of schemes that have been launched by health ministry. Likewise, I would suggest that social issues, if we are focusing on descriptive answers, I would suggest do a lot of reports and schemes, and make use of these facts in your descriptive answers to make it appear lucrative, so that the examiner who checks the paper takes interest in it. And also you read a lot of current affairs for the phase 1 as well as in phase 2.
Hmm.
So we could link these particular current affairs for our descriptive answers in ESI. So definitely in ESI descriptive, a lot of social, I think one or two social issues questions will be there, apart from a scheme based question and other aspects. So you could make use of this current affairs knowledge, and you could just key in those facts in your descriptive answers to make it more lucrative and to make you basically stand out of the crowd. For objective paper, I would suggest that PIB is definitely a very everybody suggests that PIB you must do it, but for me it always looking at the length and breadth, it was not doable for me as a working aspirant. Definitely had to rely on video sources, and government and schemes I had to rely on a particular uh, compilation that was provided by EduTap. But not everything is important. For government schemes, you must understand that schemes that are, I mean, launched in the last 3 or 4 months, or that have their anniversary coming in few months, or maybe have gone past in the past couple of months, or schemes that are relaunched after some period of time. Only those are important. Not every scheme you have to do it. I mean, you have to go through for every ministry. So you have to basically there is a lot of sources that are available in the internet, but you have to basically switch down and focus on those things that are important. So I used to do schemes from Diksha ma'am compilations, as well as the compilation PDF compilations that I used to get. And also for PIB, I used to rely on EduTap and also some other education coaching institute channels for compilations. Again, I have to prepare my own notes and used to revise them during before the phase two exam.
Okay. So it was like for the ESI, the course is quite vast. So you were mostly focusing on the YouTube sessions of the government schemes and the schemes tab document that EduTap provides. So you were focused on the syllabus, and you more than the syllabus, you were focused on the schemes part, because that will carries a good weightage in the ESI section. And now coming to the descriptive part, like how are you able to write the answer? The framework, can you tell a little about?
Yes, ma'am. So the framework that I used to follow is basically a threefold framework: introduction, a body, and the conclusion. The body had the last, I mean, the most weightage,
Hmm.
and it should be written, at least for me, it was point wise in nature. So any say for coming to finance descriptive, I would say if you're talking about global financial crisis
Hmm.
and its impact on India. So every likewise, we have to brainstorm from every topic at least one or two questions that can be asked in the exam, and make a habit of writing it on your own using WordPad. Uh, that what could I have written if this would have been asked in the exam.
Hmm.
So I would say that not every time we can ask a friend to evaluate or someone else to evaluate. So evaluate on your own, being in the examiner's shoe. So if you feel that it is, I mean, it is a convincing answer, so definitely examiner would also feel that it's a convincing answer. So make sure for a 15-mark question, you have at least 10 solid points in your mind for that particular topic, and make sure you have that in your notes also, because when you are revising topic wise for even for the descriptive paper,
Hmm.
so you cannot just go through and scramble maybe your notes or videos or everything. Just have that ready in your notepad or somewhere, and go through them before the exam, just the pointers,
Hmm.
and everything else you can elaborate based on your understanding of that topic, of that particular topic. So in the body, you make sure you have point wise, and you can elaborate based on your understanding
Hmm.
of that topic. And examiner would also know that okay, these are the important points, and he could just ensure that he's just looking at the important points,
Hmm.
and he from that he can gauge your understanding of that topic.
Okay. So for like you should have the points ready for any kind of question that can come, and you have to make your own notes even for the descriptive writing, because you need to have the facts. You cannot just write anything in there in the subjective manner. You have to have the objective point of view. You have to have the facts ready, and that you have done the preparation for the general awareness. You have done the preparation for the ESI, so that should be ready with you in the notes form. So that is also a very good strategy, that for the descriptive writing also make your own notes, have the facts ready so that you can write it when any kind of question comes. So that is also very good. Now, and did you do a lot of practice for the descriptive writing, because we have heard about the typing like for the keyboards and everything?
Yes, ma'am. So I think a lot of aspirants are afraid about the word limit, if you have to meet the word limit or not.
Hmm.
So I would just suggest that I have appeared for the last year mains also, and this year also I have appeared. And for me, two or three things are don'ts. You must not do in any IBPS descriptive paper. One is don't commit spelling mistakes, don't commit grammatical mistakes, and don't I mean always ensure the content is right. You cannot just write anything and expect that good marks can be given to you. So if a 15 marks questions I mean asking for 600 words, you might not be able to make it. I mean you might not be able to write 600 words, but even if you have written 450 words of good content,
Hmm.
that would matter.
Hmm.
So content is the king, I would say. The content basically is something that matters, and not the word limit. So
Hmm.
for descriptive part, definitely I had to practice, because it is a 200 marks paper for descriptive, if I consider English as a paper also. So typing speed definitely matters. Definitely, if since I was working in IT MNC,
Hmm.
I it was a habitual process for me. But still I used to practice descriptive writing, and I used to select a topic and used to set a time limit for it, say 25 minutes or 22 half minutes. I used to allot that time, and I didn't refer anything. Whatever came to my mind, whatever I had remembered, I wrote it down. And the last 5 minutes I spent in arranging the facts and ensuring the proper flow of thought. And after 22 and a half minutes, I used to evaluate on my own, like if I have written a convincing answer, if I have missed anything, if I have, I mean, was I able to meet to my expectations or not? So I used to do it on my own, and this I kept doing until phase two. I started 4 months ahead of phase one, and then did it until phase two, and that helped me basically to calm down my nerves when I was appearing the phase two paper.
Okay, so that is really great that you have to practice yourself and you have to set the timer also, because in the exam you have that timer. So it should be fit in your mind so that you are able to write everything at in time, in the pressure, under the pressure you have to give the answer. So that is also a very good strategy that you have to set the timer also. It's not like you are writing here for 1.5 hours, just a single answer, you are putting everything into it. So that won't be there in the real examination. So that is also a very good strategy. Now coming to the interface, did you face any problem with the interface in the examination?
Interface is definitely a troublesome, ma'am. I think IBPS interface definitely is a troublesome. That's a known fact. But we have to adjust to what is provided to us. So having appeared for a lot of mains, I think I got comfortable with the interface over a period of time. In the initial phase, I was definitely not very happy with the interface. So we cannot do much about things which are not in our hand. So we shouldn't worry about them. So we just have to know and I mean what we have to do, and everything just falls in its place.
Okay. Yes. So you have to know about that the interface will not be much good. And so you shouldn't feel pressurized regarding that. You should be prepared for that at least. And so now I think we can move to the interview part. We have cleared the sources and we have cleared that how you should prepare, what can be your strategy also. So now I think moving towards the interview, did you give any mock interview?
Yes, ma'am. I had given a couple of mock interviews, and definitely helped me to understand my lacunas and gray areas in my personality.
Okay. And so now coming to the real interview, how was it? How was the panel?
Ma'am, coming to the real interview, definitely it was a very good experience for me, and the panel was very cordial. With the very fact that they were listening to my answers very patiently boosted my confidence, and it was convincing with regards to what efforts I had put in. But definitely the anxiety and fear was there until the results were out. So overall, a very good experience.
And how was the panel? Like how
The
many
panel,
members?
the panel comprised of 5 members, comprising of two lady members and three male members. Uh, the chairperson of the panel was sitting in the middle, and it was evenly distributed by other members of the panel. And they took turns to ask me questions, and they were listening to all your answers patiently. So they were not drilling at any moment. I never felt that, at least. Maybe they would have some for some questions they would have like counter questions. So no worries on that. Apart from that, it was all a very good experience.
Okay. And most of the questions were technical from the economics, finance, management, or most of the questions were from your background, that was IT. So what
Uh,
was?
so for me, ma'am, starting if I consider my experience, my profile per se, I would say that the first question was only my background. That why didn't I take up an on-site deputation? Apart from that, everything was based on RBI and its functions, and also general economy, the world economy, and all those aspects.
And were some question from the resume, like in the sense of the hobbies, the qualification you have, and everything?
Ma'am, for me, there were no questions on hobbies and other areas of education, as well as my choices that I've taken in my life. But mostly everything was technical based.
Okay. Yeah, we can say that it was more of a technical where RBI based questions were more asked.
Yes, ma'am.
So I think we are towards the end of the session now. Any message for the aspirants out there, especially the working aspirants that think that it will be hard to manage the preparation as well as the job?
Ma'am, definitely uh, preparing alongside a job is difficult, but it is not impossible. Considering that RBI syllabus is defined, and you
Hmm.
just have to, put in some effort, or maybe let some effort during a day for the exam in a disciplined way for at least 3 4 months, and
Hmm.
that should be enough. You might not be able to make it in one attempt, and maybe in second attempt also. That happened with me. So you have to work on those lacunas, but definitely if you work hard, you will be able to make it. If I was able to make it, definitely a lot of people who are working can definitely make it.
That is true. That we have the live example sitting in front of us that Rajan sir was able to clear while working. He was the working aspirant. He was able to clear the examination. In the second attempt, also, he was able to reach towards the interview. So we can understand that it is not an impossible task, though you have to put a lot of effort. Extra efforts has to be put being a working aspirant, as well as the extra discipline is needed, we can say. But of course, if you put the hard work, if you are very motivated to go in the RBI grade B, you will surely be able to clear the examination. So thank you so much, sir, for coming, and thank you so much for this such a good interview. And I also learned a lot of things from you, and I hope the aspirants must have learned a lot from you. Thank you so much, sir, for coming.
Thank you for your time, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.